believers of this young AC Milan, welcome back. Solo la maglia, as my hoodie says, only the jersey, because I used to say even only the colors, but recently the new jerseys you see, it's a monochromatic. They even remove our colors. I don't know what they are really doing up there, but that's what I'm getting into, because recently the result on the field, they were horrible. So I start to wondering why they are so horrible. So I start look up to understand why Redbird, why Elliott, why Scaroni, Furlani, Ibra, why they are all doing this. And ladies and gentlemen, today we have some news over the stadium of San Siro. That's a huge saga that is keep going for months and months. But the news of a few hours back here today, it is the 23rd of March, because apparently around midday there's been opening of a preliminary investigation about the undervaluation of the stadium San Siro and of the area around San Siro. That is pretty interesting to know, guys. I will read for you an article that I translated, because I think there are some is going to explain some of the reason why we are trying to build a stadium in San Siro and not in San Donato. Okay. Also, I want to talk about the gossip around Massimiliano Allegri. They want to see the ex-Milan coach from 2010-2014 to be back next season on the bench for the Rossoneri. The words of Florenzi and the disappearing of Zlatan Ibrahimovic, that slowly from March, we don't even know where he is anymore. So we don't have literally anybody. The club, it is a mess. That's why it's good to follow a video. It's good to subscribe to the channel, because we try to find a reason why it's so messy. Okay, let's start from a hot topic, which is the investigation open today in Milano San Siro. I have to read some of the notes, guys, because also some of the terms I have to translate it for you. Just so you know that from the 11th of March, Milan and Inter, of course, they submitted the proposal to buy the stadium of San Siro. The purchase that had been discussed for some times. Okay, apparently one of the point that why it took so long for Milan and Inter to send this proposal, it was because in case there was a pivot point, in case San Siro is a no-go, both team has to give up San Siro, so they have to find their own project. And that was a way also, in a way also, let's say that Milan had a solution right there in San Donato. They can go forward. The stadium can be ready in 3-4 years. But instead, we decide to go back to San Siro, try to find a solution with Inter, not leaving the stadium completely to Inter, because let's be honest, Inter at the moment doesn't have a real plan B, has a lot of interest in different areas, but they don't own anything. So today, I think with what we're going to read now, we're going to understand why why San Siro for Scaroni. Because remember, guys, that who's leading this operation for Redbird is the president of Redbird International, Paolo Scaroni, okay, which has a huge influence, power, money, political influence over Milan, over the municipality of Milan. But listen up. Now, the valuation of the property was determined by the Italia Revenue Agency at the municipality's request. According to their assessment, the San Siro and the surrounding area are worth 197 million. I repeat it again, 197 millions. However, concern have been raised about whether this transaction represent a fair deal for the public finances. What does it mean? Means, is it really worth it, only 197 million, the Stadium San Siro and the land? Is it worth it that the city council is giving to these two private identity, Milan and Inter, this area for only 197 millions. A preliminary investigation file has been opened under Model 45, meaning there are no suspect or no allegation of wrongdoing at this stage. The objective is to verify whether the sales could result into a financial damage to public fund. So the municipality has a legal duty not to transfer public asset to private entity at a loss. So far, estimated cost and financial breakdown of the deal are 124 million for purchasing the land, 72.98 million for the stadium, minus 80 millions, which could be covered by the municipality for debris removal and land remediation. That brings a total cost of 116.98 million for an area of 280,000 square meters, translating to a price of 417 euro per meter square. I'll say that again. 417 euro 0.79 per square meter. A figure that sparked a debate about whether the valuation adequately reflects the site's real market value. Now, I'll ask you to go on Google, wherever city you are from, and say average price per meter square in city. And then check in Milan. If you will Google average price per meter square in Milan, you will read 4,400 euro per meter square, which is very expensive. Okay, average in the region of Milan in Lombardia, it is around 1,950, which let's call it 2,000. Okay. So in the city center, if you want to buy a meter square of the land, it's going to cost you 4,400. If you want to go outside of Milan, in the region, so it could be literally Bergamo, it could be Brescia, it could be Pavia, it could be near well, then depend on the city, of course, but outside of the city of Milan, let's say, it's going to cost you 2,000. How come in San Siro, which is city center, an area with huge potential, only costs 417 euro? It doesn't even cost to buy a PlayStation 417 euro. How is that even possible, this? 417 euro for a meter square in a city center in Milan? Unreal. And that's why Scaroni want to build there. Because the profit, you buy a land of 417 euro, you can make a profit from the same meter square way above of what you paid in San Donato. Of course they want to have it in San Siro. It makes sense for both teams that they want to have in San Siro. Of course, guys, of course. So welcome to Italy. That's the way we complicated ourselves. And the thing that drives me most crazy is that he's the Presidente Onorario, so he's the honorary president of Milan, Scaroni. And the last things that he really cared is about Milan, because Milan had already the land. We had a highway, a freeway without tolls. We had a Ferrari that we can just go straight ahead, build in San Donato. With money, we're gonna create our own home, our own museum, our own world in San Siro. Instead, no. The president of Redbird International wanna build in San Siro because of that reason, together with his friend Marotta, because he's the vice president of Inter, and surely at some point he's gonna have some desire for politics, because here, guys, is all politics. Municipality of Milan, president of Milan, and president of Inter. This is all politics. The thing is, the real interest is not in Milan. That's quite clear. That's quite direct. I think we can all agree with that. So it is frustrating reading this. Again, this is a news that comes out today at midday. It is nothing. It's just, as I mentioned before, what word I used, preliminary investigation. Okay, it's called Model 45. So there is no allegation of wrongdoing at this stage. It's just a check. But of course, they say, oh, how come this area is only valuated 417 euros? So anyway, let me know what do you think, guys. If you want to go to San Siro, if you want to keep doing business with Scaroni, with Marotta, with Inter, and not just building our own home. I will leave the comments to you. I'm just reporting the facts, okay? Let me know. Something that another I wanna actually where I wanna put my comments on it. It is the what I want to actually talk about this, guys. It is the sorry, I was just checking my information if I got everything. Yes, ready to go. About Massimiliano Allegri, you can really see how bipolar are the fans. Some teams, some fans, they wanna have Massimiliano, other they don't. Just to give you an idea, and I checked some data on Massimiliano Allegri that played for Milan 2010, 2014. Massimiliano Allegri, I remember he was a coach really in between the two generations, because when Massimiliano Allegri was our coach, it was a time that we had still like the Gattuso, the Nesta, the Pirlo, the Zambrotta, and when he left, we literally had one of the worst banter area team ever. So Allegri won the Scudetto with Milan when we had Nesta, Thiago Silva, Zambrotta, we had Seedorf, we had the Kevin Prince Boateng, the Pirlo, the Gattuso. Striker were Ibra, Pato, Inzaghi, Robinho, Ronaldinho. We won a Scudetto with that. Yep. Now, instead when he left in 2014, we had Zapata, Mexes, De Sciglio, Bonera, Poli, Montari, Montolivo, Pazzini, Matri, Balotelli. That was the team that he left. He left after 19 matches when Milan was positioned at was 11th after a defeat against Sassuolo for 4-3. Guess who scored 4 goals for Sassuolo? King Berardi. Exactly. Allegri, some people say yes, but Allegri won a lot at Juventus. Yes, but what team had Juventus? Set by Antonio Conte for years, and eventually more victory with Massimiliano Allegri. And you know that last year Massimiliano Allegri is being fired from Juventus because had a normal team. I don't think, this is my opinion, I don't think that Allegri can... It is a top coach nowadays. I think Allegri, it is, if you already have a top team, Allegri can be killer. But if you have an okay team, Allegri, it does always the same mistakes. And in my opinion, Juve and Milan this season, they have pretty much the same players or similar players, even though I think we are a little bit better. But you know what I mean, right? I don't think Allegri with this team can do something. What Milan should do, potentially, it is, even you give to Allegri a top team, so it's even better of the team that we have right now, which means keeping all the players that we have and buying two solid midfielder and two solid defender, so he can fix the defense once for all and push for the counter attack, because football under Allegri is going to be horrible. Or you sell a couple of players to big money, you invest everything you have in a coach that create a group, create a gameplay, such as De Zerbi, such as Maurizio Sarri. Okay, and you are not expecting to win next year. I'm expecting to competing next year, like Conte is doing with Napoli this year. And maybe next year, aiming to the year after, aiming to win the Scudetto, aiming to win something for sure. That's the way I will be accepting. But at least to be back to be competitive, because Milan this season is not competitive. That's what I want. And also, guys, do not believe all the news that you read about Milan wants this player, Milan wants this coach. Apologies. Because there are just gossip, and everything is going to be decided from the next sport director. Decide the coach, they plan together, and they will buy and invest. We have to move something, because the latest words of Florenzi, once again, guys, it's like Napoli is a game that can give you a lot, it can take a lot away. They are doing great things and are in the title race. It might sound strange to say, but I want to see Milan show consistency, like in the last 2 matches. Como and what was the other one? The result could be a loss, a draw, a win, but I want to see a real team. Now, deep down, it is correct to say something like this. Deep down. But because this season has been shitty, so there is not really a goal to arrive in Campione. There is not really a goal here. And I feel sorry for a coach like Conceição that has a potential to win things, has the charisma that can work in Milan, but first of all, he's not being shielded by the club, by the managers. He's a man chosen by Ibrahimovic, and because of that, he's going to get fired at the end of the season, also because economically he has the same contract that Fonseca has. So if it stays less than 6 months, Milan is going to pay just 1 year of contract, not the full 3 years of contract. Okay? So it's also very smart, Milan. And if the new sport director wants to give a new impression, a new imprint to Milan, we'll have to fire the coach. I don't think Conceição is a bad coach, even though we didn't see anything, but he got a team from Christmas, and the goal was to arrive 4th. And part of the job of the coach is to win, and Milan is not winning. So because of the results, because from who's been picked, Conceição, I believe at the end of the season is going to go. Like Ibrahimovic. Ibrahimovic since the victory, yeah, it is a victory. Since Elliott took over power of the sport direction of Milan, Red Bird doesn't know what to do with Ibrahimovic. Ibrahimovic neither. That's why he's on holiday since a month or so. That's why he's not there. He's not around anymore. Let me know, guys, what do you think about the situation here in Milan, in San Siro. I want to know also the story. What do you think about who is going to be our next coach? Believers, thank you for watching the video. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.